Hello.
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 Yeah, it works perfectly.
Good morning.
We'll be with you in just a few minutes.
Good morning.
We'll be with you in a few minutes. We can't wait to learn with you.
Good morning from Louisville, Kentucky.
We are so excited to be here today. It seems like this has been on our calendars for months, and we look forward to this every summer. And we're excited to be with you live today.
And I'm Irina McGrath.
Dr. McGrath, and I'm Michelle Shory, and we are coming live to you from Louisville, Kentucky. All right. Do you want to?
Yes.
So today our session is called Growing Digital and Print Agile Readers Through Techquity. So Irina and I are going to talk to you about print and digital reading. We've been really interested in this topic because when we went to remote instruction, we saw that so many more kids were reading print text, and we got to wondering, how is that changing the way kids are comprehending these texts? And so we're excited to show you, to share with you some of our research, as well as our suggestions and tech applications for making a successful transition.
Yes, we hope you enjoy this presentation and you hope you learned something new.
All right. So the first thing we found out, we actually worked with two different books that helped us a lot. And I'm going to wiggle this over because one was The Perfect Blend by Michelle Eaton, which is amazing. It's a resource for anyone who's doing blended instruction. And the other is Reader Come Home by Mary Ann Wolfe. And you might know Mary Ann Wolfe from Proust and the Squid, another of her books about reading. But both of these really helped us understand how digital reading is different than print text. So a few things that you should know are that print reading has slight advantages. Print readers are better able to make inferences, understand gist, and use spatial information to increase comprehension. That's important to know. But digital readers, there's a few advantages. They might remember statistics and facts. Numbers are often remembered a little bit better in digital text, but we're more likely to be distracted, and it's harder for them to make those deeper inferences and to comprehend deeply when they're reading digital text. So some other things we learned are that the average reader consumes about 34 gigs of text in a day. We're reading more than we ever did. We're writing more than we ever did, which is great. 34 gigs is about the equivalent of a novel. So when you think about all those,
a lot.
when you think about all those emails, Facebook streams, Instagram, all that stuff we're reading, it equals a novel a day. But the unfortunate thing is digital readers multitask 90% of the time. So, we're distracted by other tabs. We're thinking about, we click a hyperlink, we're going all different places. I read a lot on my Kindle. I know you do too.
Yes.
And that's great. But if you're reading on your phone, it beeps, you get an email and you jump over. When we read print, that only happens 1% of the time. Digital readers also crave simplicity. When you're reading 34 gigs of text, you need to make that text as simple as you can. So we look for things like Wikipedia. We look for summaries, all of those articles with the top 5 reasons you're not losing weight. Like those are really appealing to us because we can read them very quickly. So when you're writing a digital text, when you're writing something for students, you might want to keep that in mind, that when kids are reading something online, you probably need to use more headings, more bullets. Think about the top 3 things. TLDR. Do you know that acronym?
No.
Too long, didn't read. How many emails have you all gotten that are too long, didn't read? So that is a real thing. So when we're writing online, when we're sharing information, and we're giving kids online text to read, we want to make sure that they are an appropriate length. So write concisely, because when they're too long, we just don't read them. Print readers benefit from the directionality of a book. When we have a book, when we hold a book, we remember this happened at the beginning, this happened in the middle, this happened towards the end. When we're online, we lose that sense of direction. So that really aids us a lot in comprehension. So that's something we lose. And then finally, mixing print and digital activities is a really good idea, and it supports comprehension. So if you're reading a digital text, an online article, think about having students sketch note have them do a double entry journal. Think about a one pager, anything where you can mix the print and the online is going to be a really good idea. And then finally, digital reading improves with experience. We don't start out as good digital readers, but that is going to improve over time. So we want to think about that as we're working with kids, give them more experience and share these tips with them about how to read digital texts. Okay, moving on. There we go.
So here's our next slide. So there are specific strategies that apply to all type of text, whether your text is print or digital. So it is highly recommended that as teachers, we make sure we incorporate before, during, and after strategies. And before strategies, we all know them so well because they're very important for English learners. And some of them include build background knowledge, and that could be done through videos, pictures, virtual or real field trips, and so much more. And then, of course, pre-teach vocabulary is extremely important because we know that in order for students to fully comprehend any text, they need to know 95% of words in that text.
95%.
Yeah,
that's great.
Magic number.
And a tried and true strategy as well, double entry journals, and thinking about dividing the page in half. On one side, kids are writing quotes, direct quotations from the text, summaries. And then on the right is the side where they can write the reflections, their thoughts. So sort of the text says, I say. That's another idea that we've done throughout time. And then another is a PAT list. And this actually comes from Nancy Motley from Talk Read, Talk Write.
Yay.
And I love this. I saw she was presenting today. Strategy, because it's not a list of comprehension questions, but a pay attention to list, telling kids as you read, pay attention to these things. You can put them on Post-it notes. You could, project them in your room, however works best, but I love a PAT list.
Yes. And of course, now it's after reading strategies. And some of our favorites include Book, Head, Heart by Colleen Beers, right? And so book, of course, it's a quote from a book. And then head, it's that's where students share what that particular quote makes them think about, and heart, it's what that quote makes them feel and how that knowledge can change them and their practice, right? And of course, sentence, phrase, and word is another strategy. And what we did here, we linked the strategies to the original sources that will help you to dig deeper into each one.
And a lot of these, Serena, go back to our website.
Yes.
And so, for instance, if you click on the vocabulary one, I think we have like 12 vocabulary strategies. So if you're supporting teachers in your school with that, that's a great place to look as well. I'm glad you're going to be that clicker.
Yeah, so
I'm on the wrong side.
We're moving to the next slide. So let's think about the difference between print and digital text. So when you're using print text, a textbook or a magazine in your classroom, then a lot of work has been done already for you. It was done by the publishing companies. So they are the ones who check for credibility and for readability. But if you're using a digital text, an article from the web, you have to do that work yourself. You have to check that particular article's credibility or readability. So credibility is the quality of being trusted and believed in, and not every article on the web is from a credible source. So let's play a very short game. Let's go to this website. It's called Fake Out. And we actually already opened it up for you. Here's the link. And let's select our age. Good thing. That's 20 plus. I'll go for that.
Oh, yeah. That's it. That's as precise as we're going to be today.
Yes. And we know for sure Kentucky is not on the list.
Oh, is this Canadian?
Oh, yeah. There we go. Let's go to other and let's play now. We're not going to play the entire game, but let's just play a few ones. So look at this article. Teen lights driver's armpit hair on fire, causes crash. What do you think, Michelle? Is it true? Is it real or is it fake?
I mean, I've heard of crazier things, but I'm going to say no.
Not real?
I don't think it's real.
Okay, let's go.
Oh my gosh.
So it's real. The story is real. Let's go to the next one. Let's do one more. Let's look at this one. Average person swallows plastic equivalent to a credit card every week, report finds. So what do you think?
Sadly, I think that's true. I think
All
we're
right.
eating plastic.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right. Well, this is really bad to know that we actually swallow plastic equivalent to a credit card every week.
I wonder how many calories that has.
I know. Better be careful what we eat. All right. So anyway, as you can tell, sometimes it's very difficult to detect whether an article is credible or not. And one of our favorite ways to actually check for credibility is to use the SIFT method that by Mike Caulfield. So S stands for stop and ask yourself if you know the source. And it's investigate if the source is credible, like what is, like learn a little bit more about the source and then find better one if needed. And of course, trace back to the original, because when a study is published and then there are hundreds of articles out there on the web quoting the study, but are they really quoting it correctly? So it's always best to go back to the original study. And actually Michael Caulfield, he created a couple videos about the SIFT method where he talks about it's the Stanford research where they put historians, students, and fact checkers together, and they gave them different websites, kind of like what Michelle and I just did, to see if they were fake or if they were real. And the students, Stanford students, didn't do so well, and historians didn't do either. However, the fact checkers did, and the first thing they didn't even look at the site. They didn't even read any articles on the site. But the first thing they did, they went straight to the web and they Googled the source. They checked the source, and if the source was credible, they used the site. All right, so readability is another important feature that we need to make sure we check. And readability is how easy it is to read and understand the text. And one of our favorites too is to use Microsoft Word. And so the only thing you need to do is to copy and paste any text into Microsoft, and then you would click on review, click on editor, and then check document stats.
And I think it's called a Flesch Kincaid,
Yes.
right? Where it'll give you a readability score. That's cool.
And then another way, if you want to do it a little bit differently, we also have a link in our presentation, and it's when you determine the reading level of a text by going to the Lexile website and using the Lexile analyzer. It's
cool.
also pretty cool. You will copy and paste the text there, and we'll give you a number. All right, let's go to the next one.
All right, so strategies for reading digital text. So this is where Irina and I are going to share some of our favorite tips for reading these digital texts. Like, how can we make them easier for students? So we talked about distractions when we talked about the research earlier. So for sure, you want to talk about Mercury Reader?
Sure, it's one of my favorite extensions, and we have it here already opened up for you. So what it does, it removes those distractions, because like we said earlier, it can be very distracting when you're using the web. So let's go to, oops, we need to move this down a little bit. So, and let's go to Wonderopolis. What a great site. And are you a bookworm here?
We are.
Sorry. And as you can see, here is our little Mercury Reader right here at the top. It looks like a tiny rocket. We're going to turn it on and look what happens.
Oh, I love that.
You can actually print this text too this way, so which is wonderful. Let's turn it off because we're going to need that website later to demonstrate something else for you. And we already mentioned Google Docs or Microsoft Word, when you can just simply copy and paste an article from the web into Microsoft Word and share it with the students that way. Well, the next strategy is to offer multiple interactions with this text. Yes, students need those multiple interactions, and these are the cool ways to do it. So Podcastle L is one of our favorite extensions, and once you install it, this is what it does. Let's go here. We're back at this Wonderopolis side. And here is our extension already installed. Let's click here. If this is the first time you're doing it, once you install it, we'll ask you to create a free account, and then you will need to make sure you're signed in. So we're signed in already, and that's why we see this window popping up. And it says convert to podcast. So you just click on this button and it will create an amazing podcast. The voice is actually, it's pretty real. It's awesome. Really good.
I'm a podcast addict. Are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We exchange podcast recommendations back and forth.
Love podcasts. So Podcastle Al is another way for students to interact with the text. They read it, maybe next time they listen to it. And maybe another way you can offer multiple opportunities with multiple interactions is through the jigsaw strategy. What a great way to do it. And I'm sure you all are familiar with the jigsaw strategy, and we don't need to explain it. And if you are not familiar, this link in our presentation will take you there and explain it to you. And then one more. So we need to make sure to ensure that students are actively engaged with the text. And that's our third column here, our third strategy. And how can we do that is maybe by offering students multiple opportunities to leave comments or highlight the text. One of our favorites, again, is Mode Chrome extension. And what it does, it's up here at the top. As you can see, it's a little purple circle with letter M. And I don't think we have, did we have it?
Yeah, let's just do it docs.new.
Yeah, let's do that. We're going to try.
So if you type in docs.new, that'll give you, it's a shortcut to get you a brand new Google Doc. You could do it with sheets.new, slides.new, a shortcut we like.
And so since we already have our extension installed right here, we're going to click on it and it's popping up. Let me move us a little bit down. So as you can see right here, it says sign out. It means we're already signed in. If you don't see that, the extension will ask you to sign in into your free account. And then the only thing you need to do is to click here at the top and look, it starts recording automatically. We're gonna cancel.
And then, and then if you click done, you're gonna get that link and it's right on the clipboard.
Yes, awesome. And you can copy and paste it any way you want. Let's go back to our presentation. And sorry, let's go back one slide. Another way to ensure active engagement, that students actively engage with the text, is by offering close procedures strategy. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with that, but I'm going to click on it real quick just to give you an idea in case you forgot what it means. It's pretty much like this. When you have a text with a few words white out, and as students read the text or listen to the text, they insert words in the sentences.
I love doing that with songs.
Yes.
And
podcasts,
listening to your podcast. Yes. So much. You could app smash that with Podcastle AI, and it would be awesome to work on that together, do a Google Doc. And all right. Another thing you want to do is get kids talking. So as they're reading text, you want to chunk it, and every few minutes after they're reading, you want to get them to talk. We really like Padlet. I'm not going to show it to you. You all have seen Padlet. But remember, when you do use Padlet, it's not just typing text. There's 3 little dots. And in in the tech world, 3 little dots always mean more cool stuff. So click on those 3 little dots and you can actually do videos, voice recordings. And so that's a great place for students to go ahead and share their thoughts on that text. Also, Turn and Talk, tried and true. I think about QSSA, our friends at Silence promote that one. But getting students to stop and process what they're reading. And then something we saw time and time again in the research was that you should mix print activities with digital text. So if you have a long digital text, think about sketchnoting, as we mentioned earlier.
Or close procedure even.
Yeah. And you could do that on paper. That's perfect. And then one-pagers. One-pagers, this link goes to our website where we have a digital version that you could use, or a print version, which we'd recommend with a digital text, but really give students a structure for going ahead and giving a reflection on what they read. And then finally, this we think is really, it comes a lot from retrieval practice, which we keep hearing about a lot. But when you keep quizzing yourself or assessing yourself, you can do that with Kahoot or quizzes. And I love those when you set them up so students can redo them. And then also brain dumps, where you just go ahead and you think of everything you know about it, or Say, Mean, Matter, which is a little bit maybe like Book, Head, Heart, where you talk about a text, something from the text, then reflect on it, and then talk about why it matters to you. So those are some strategies we really recommend for digital text.
Absolutely. So these are 6 important strategies that are excellent, and we recommend them highly. Let's go to the next one. And this is about favorite places for digital text. So here we're going to share with you where you can actually go and find great text materials for your students at different levels, intermediate, middle, and high, but they're kind of, I feel like even middle school teachers can go to elementary.
Oh, yeah. So we put grade ranges. If the website listed them, we put the grade ranges. But again, we pull text from all different levels to work with students. You want to make sure that they're appropriate for the age of the student, that content. But one of my favorites is Unite for Literacy. And I know you love this one too. Unite for Literacy is so great because it has text from around the world in different languages. So not only are they culturally responsive, but you can get text in different languages. There are also some harder to find languages, some rare languages there. So that's a great one to promote literacy in the L1.
And all of these websites are linked. So once you have a link to our presentation, you will be able to go into each one and explore and see for yourself what text they have to offer.
Yeah. Epic is another great one.
I love Epic.
Do you love Epic? So it says grades K through 7+. That 7+ is generous. I think that you could use that one. A lot. I work with high school, and Arena worked, she's working middle and high now, but she worked with the middle a long time, and I bet you used Epic.
Yes.
With them.
Yes, we did.
So again, thinking about, is it appropriate for the cognitive level or the developmental level of the learner? One that's interesting, and I'll click, it's the Global Oneness Project. This one, when we were doing our research, this one was a little bit newer to me, but this is really based on storytelling. And they have really rich stories. And as you can see, they're from around the world. And there are lesson plans and just all kinds of things here. Gorgeous photos for you to discuss. So this is one, again, that's a little bit newer to us, but we would love for you to explore that as well. And I think that brings in, we listed it under elementary, some, just some really cool perspectives for younger learners too.
Absolutely. And so the middle school level, we have Actively Learn. It's grades 3 through 12. It's an excellent website as well. And of course, our favorites, everyone's favorites, Newsela, right? K through 12. So it's a great website. I'm sure you've used articles from Newsela, so we're not going to click there. And Smithsonian Twin Tribute. I love that one. Have you used it with your summer school kids? Not yet.
I didn't. I used, we had a great summer. We used a lot from Scholastic. Those were really approachable for them. And I didn't as much, but I do love that one.
Mhm.
I have to say, we really used a lot of YouTube and Scholastic this summer.
Great
And we did
resources.
use a lot of Vote.
Mhm.
And an aside, when I left Moat comments, we got way more responses on that feedback.
Awesome.
Research says 3 times more,
Mhm.
that you'll get 3 times the response with voice feedback. And I really think that's true. This one for high school, this New American History, I have totally geeked out about this one for a while. The coolest thing about this one is just this search
Love
page.
it.
And you can search this is a social studies site, but you can search different learning topics and then reading level. But the coolest thing here is you can also think about different learning strategies. So collaboration, all kinds, the TQE method, all kinds of things here. And then when you get to literacy, it comes up with different activities like creating an infographic, a 6-word memoir. So this one, I haven't seen anything this detailed before.
Me either. No, it's great.
So that's a great place for digital text as well.
Mm-hmm. And there's Common Lit, of course, grades 3 through 12. And My Shakespeare. Let's click on that one.
Yeah. My Shakespeare is pretty awesome. This one was a little bit newer to us as well. I bet everyone teaches Romeo and Juliet at some point. But look at the audio built in. You can share things right to Google Classroom there, which might make it more accessible. But there's videos, scene summaries. You can turn on glossed words to help kids. There's a little built-in notebook. But this is something that was new to me when we started exploring strong digital text for kids. So those are some of our favorites, and we'd love to hear from you if there are some digital sites that you love and that you think are a great place for resources. The ones that we really like, again, Irina talked about making sure that the information is credible, but then also finding a way to adjust that level so that it's just right for our English learners.
Absolutely. So we are so thankful to be a part of ML Summit and to present today and share this information with you. So please stay in touch with us and share your ideas and your resources with us. We would love to learn from you. And here on this slide, we have our Twitter handles and bit.ly to our ELL 2.0 site. Would you mind clicking on it,
Yeah,
Michelle?
I'm going to do it.
We have a lot of resources here, and the tabs on the left are all in alphabetical order. So we will continue creating resources this school year, and please look for them every Tuesday, right at 4 o'clock. That's when we're going to tweet new resources.
Yeah, it's exciting. Creating new things for all of you keeps us learning, keeps us fresh. And we have not run out of topics at all.
No.
We text each other, oh, this is great. So go ahead and take a look at these tabs over here. We have back to school resources. We have sub plans, which we hope you tab because you will need those one day. Past conference presentations, we've done just a ton of things there to support you throughout the school year. And please tweet us, let us know what you think about these resources, if they're helpful to you. And then we'd love to know your strategies for digital reading.
Absolutely. And if there is a topic you would like for us to explore and share resources with you, let us know. Just DM us or tweet us and we will let you, we'll share that with you.
Yeah, we'd love to do that. So thank you again. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Irina.
And we look forward to learning with you. We'll be tweeting new stuff out in just a couple of weeks. And thank you so much, Carol, Ton, and Katie. Thank you. We appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.